God help us. I hope nobody spills any drinking.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
We'll try to do this without the microphone because I'm very antsy. Okay. My name is Geraldine Higgington Francis, and I'm an etiquette consultant, and I've been trained by Quality Fine Etiquette Consulting, who has been with Hostos since about 2011, as Julian said. So today, if you remember, I don't have a clicker. So today we're going to share some tools to help you have a smooth dining experience. It's important to have a smooth dining experience in many situations. It could be a date. It could be a business opportunity. Various situations, it will be important for you to know how to get through a dining experience smoothly. Make a good impression, right? Any examples of what other opportunities you think you would need to have these types of skills? Gala events, banquets. Same thing. Anybody else?
Like sometimes people may take you to luncheon.
Other business opportunities. Now, I want to hear from you what you think etiquette is. I'm sorry, hold on 1 second. I would like for everyone, when you're called on, to please say your name and then respond, okay?
My name is Brianna. I think etiquette is to be properly and friendly and respectful, and you have to have space around it.
Did everyone hear that?
No.
Could you project your voice so everyone can share?
You have to have like a perfect stance and eat properly and correctly, and also like when you're talking to someone.
That's her. Thank you very much.
My name is Ed Priest. I feel like etiquette is how you conduct yourself in a public setting.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes?
So my name is Julian. Etiquette to me means that you need the proper and necessary mannerisms for that specific event.
Anyone else?
Etiquette for me is rules to follow at the table.
Rules to follow at a table. Is etiquette only applicable at a table or dinner setting?
No.
Raise your hand. You can, so everybody can learn it.
Well, it's like also when you're informing these two, if you have to talk with someone, just in case, the hand or when you have to talk to them, like, if you move in the wrong hand, or like, that's the other person.
Anyone else? What's your name?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, did everyone hear her?
No.
Can you repeat that? Turn around so she was in front.
For me, etiquette is about professionalism. So you're at a setting, you be professional. It's like going on a job interview. You have to have to dress a certain way. So I feel like that's what etiquette is. It's the same for like the behavior of professional.
Thank you.
My mother always told me that growing up as a baby, we were supposed to have, and it's common in my culture, we say ética y protocolo, like etiquette and protocol, I guess, and that's just basically like stay true to your moral wherever you go, at a table, and just,
I just said that. What's your name?
Margaret.
Margaret.
My name is Connie. Etiquette is always carrying yourself at the table. Put your hair up on the table, sweat, like this when you're eating. Certain people not supposed to.
Is everybody hearing her? Okay, anybody else? I thought I saw a hand somewhere over there. Anyone else? Yes.
Etiquette
your knowledge of what you know and like, what you say, everything like, you have to know how to walk to them, what about, like,
What's your name?
Alima.
Alina. I think it's on another hand. Yes.
My name is Andrea. I believe etiquette, like, the same like the mannerism, but I feel like at a table, depending on the setting, because in certain cultures, like people in Europe or somewhere, their etiquette way of guiding is a little bit different than American. So I think it's based on the where you're at and then following their style.
Two people said words that are important to us at college and fine. Okay? It's going to come up a lot. Yes.
My name is Abdul. Etiquette, I believe it's all about confidence. It's all about things that you need to do in order to be confident. It's like a guidebook.
That was one of my upcoming questions. Thank you very much. Do this then. Yes.
My name is Kristen, and I think that etiquette is like the right way and the formal way to do something or to use something. That's what I think.
Is there another?
Yeah, cultural. For example, I'm Dominican. In the normal, regular Dominican people, it's normal to eat with a spoon. And when I went to a Chinese restaurant, I didn't see a knife on the table, and it was shocking. Because how am I going to cut the meat if I don't have a knife? But I saw the spoon and the fork. So it's a big while what you have to learn to behave properly according to the culture.
So I asked these questions, and I want to get a very diverse response because it's important before we go on with anything else that you do understand. Etiquette is not about me coming here to say you're right and I'm wrong, okay? And we define etiquette as etiquette is a set of practices and forms which are followed in a wide variety of situations. Okay? Situations, some being cultural, some being professional. There are various situations that etiquette would apply differently. So you must be aware of that. Okay? Each society has its own distinct etiquette. So here in the United States, everybody's etiquette still won't be the same, mostly because in the United States, it's a very diverse and cultural place. And you can't say, or go into someone else's home, I think this young lady over here talked about family, as well as you, there are family practices, things that are cultural to that family, important to that family. Sometimes that comes from where the family came from. Sometimes that's just their practice at their home. And also should be respected. Okay? So each society has its own distinct etiquette, and various cultures within a society also have their own rules and social norms. Why do you think? I want you guys to get that before we go any further. Talk about it. What'd you say? No, that applies anywhere you go. I want you guys to keep this in mind, whether you're here and especially if you go to another country. Because it's not important that you're American when you're in someone else's home, even home country. So it's a matter of respect to understand what etiquette is important in every place that you are. So if you travel to China, you can't go, hey, why do y'all have this? Why are y'all down there? What are you doing? That's their home. So it's always important, especially if you're doing a business deal in China, that you take the time to learn about that person, to learn about that country, so you can show them respect while you're there. Okay? Yes. And so they'll welcome you there while you're there. Yes. So, history of the word etiquette. During the mid-1700s, I'm going to ask someone to read it. Can I get a volunteer? Get out here from... Okay, I didn't hear a lot from you. Can you see it?
Yeah. History of the word etiquette. During the mid-1700s, when commoners would appear in front of the French court and display poor behavior, they were given etiquettes, French word for tickets, that gave instructions on how to behave appropriately. They were required to study their etiquettes prior to appearing in front of the French court again.
So just to give you a little history on the word etiquette, okay? Doesn't mean that it only applies there, but that's where the word really derives from, okay? Give me some of the benefits of etiquette. Which again, some we touched on. Why do you think it's important to learn etiquette? Business opportunities.
Show respect.
Show respect. What's your name?
Emma.
What's your name? Anyone else? Gallus. What? Is that your name?
Relationship, salon.
Salud.
Yeah. Build a good relationship.
Build a relationship.
Yeah.
Very important. Anyone else?
Also, like self-improvement.
Self-improvement. Anyone else? Yes.
To know people, to know who they are.
If you're working in any industry, working with people, this is going to be very important for you on many levels. It's going to be important for you to understand those things, to build those relationships with those people, and to make a good impression to those same people you're trying to either create a business relationship with, get them to buy your product, whatever it may be, but you want to be able to make a good impression. It also helps you to gain confidence, improve social skills, and networking abilities, and develop a stellar professional image, which in turn can give you an edge on the competition. I mean, how many of us know? You come out of college, this whole room can have straight A's. Say you were all in the same industry, and you all came out of school with straight A's. What makes you different than the next person? Come in.
I was gonna say, what makes it different is your leadership skills, how creative you are, how what's your vision, also the etiquette, like how you know, how you manage yourself in front of people, how you all that.
Right, what's your name?
Well,
So all of those things are important. When you come out of college, you come with a set of skills that the school gives you, you know, academic skills. But that's on everybody's resume. That's on everybody's resume. Okay, your vision. How do they get to know about your vision? Do you have the correct etiquette skills to even get to the table? To talk to somebody. If you don't have those skills and those tools, you block opportunities for yourself to even get to the table, to get past the first interview. You understand? You have a question?
Yes, is etiquette in other cultures also viewed as like a way supper arrangement? Is it?
So like we were saying earlier, etiquette is not just food.
It's not just that, but automatically.
But again, every culture is different. That's why I wanted you guys to understand this first. So if you're talking about another country, that means you show that respect enough to learn about them if you're in their country, right? Now if you're with them, even if you're in their home, and you know this week there's a Dominican, right? Somebody comes to your family and your family's Dominican. Just because their family doesn't eat something, so your friend's family doesn't eat something, or your friend's family doesn't set the table that way. Is it proper etiquette for them to come to your house and go, what is this? I don't do this like this at my house. That's rude.
I'm saying like Asians visualize etiquette as their eating arrangements.
So I think every society, and I'm going to be careful, and I want you to be careful, because they may use a different word. Right. But here, etiquette, what we need to understand, when we go to another country, how we understand etiquette is to understand those practices and norms of either that person or that culture, okay? And to respect it. Okay? And to respect it. Like when you're doing business with a client, you want to honor that client. You want them to be your client. You want to honor them. You want to know something about them. Right? You want them to feel comfortable. You want them to think that you thought they were important enough to understand a little bit about them, to understand what's important to them. If you want them to be a part of your team. That client, in turn, should understand what's important to you and your company, that they need that also. It's a two-way street, but it's important. You have a business with children. There's some things you're going to want to know about that person and what they believe about children and family and so on and so forth. So industry is also important when you're determining this, okay? What industry are you going into? Understand the industry. Like, I'm also a photographer. And it was, you know, my mother always raised me. You go to school, you come out, you do this, you get a job, you look for these benefits, you do No one in my family was in the creative field. And I failed and didn't take the time to learn a little bit more about my industry than what was just taught to me in class. And I remember my first interview with Sony, and the lady loved me based on my resume. But the other thing she was impressed with on my resume was I was very active in college in my field. You know, I was the general manager of the television station. I worked for the audio vision department. I did everything in my field. But then I came out and didn't understand my industry. And I came out negotiating with this woman, health benefits and all of this here stuff, to learn that. She was like, well, we don't do that. I said, well, I work at a job now, I have this, I have that, I have this, we don't do that. This is what it is. We start at this, we do this, but I had to learn the hard way. I'm negotiating with her to no avail. And then when I spoke to one of my friends, I said, oh, because in this industry, we don't really do health insurance. It's not something if you're serious about this industry, it's not something you look to get when you come out immediately. But no one told me that in advance. And when I say this woman was like gung-ho for me, I destroyed that opportunity because I didn't understand the industry. So I came in there talking about something else that she wasn't interested in, and she couldn't do for me. She was trying to make me quit my job. She wanted me to come so bad. But I thought I needed all these things. Culturally in my house, I was told this is what you need. You don't take no job unless they do this, 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 and this, and you retire there. And that is not how mine is. So I kind of had to start over. But I want to see if you guys time. I still do photography. Put this thing. I want to kind of touch on this, but I like to read this just to make sure we have clarity. Okay? Before we proceed with the workshop, I would like to make a quick disclaimer. My purpose is not to tell you who to be, who you are, how to be as a person. Okay? We all have free will. Instead, my intention is to provide you with options on how you can conduct yourself in certain social situations. And you have a choice in the matter. If you would like to put them into practice. I'm here to enlighten and help you expand upon knowledge you already have. This sometimes we just underutilize. Okay? And help you expand upon knowledge you already have on the topic of etiquette. I just ask everyone to try to have an open mind, feel comfortable to ask questions, and give feedback, and do so in a respectful manner, not just to me, to other people in the room. Okay? Is everybody okay with that and in agreement with that?
Yes.
So, we're here. We discussed that etiquette covers a broad variety of areas, industries, topics, so on and so forth. What I'm here to do today is just talk about the dining experience. But just understand that those cultural things and those other aspects will enter the conversation sometimes. Okay? Because these are people. Everybody here, people dealing with other people. So you still have to keep that in mind during the dining session. Okay? So my main goal is to teach you how to have, not teach you, but to help you have a smooth dining experience by providing you with some tools and some information that will assist you in that manner. Okay? So if you guys notice, your Hostos team has laid out a nice spread for you in the back. Okay? They prepared a nice spread for you in the back. There's going to be a certain time in the presentation where I'm going to release you from these seats and send you to take a choice and have a seat at the back. And we will have a wait staff assist you. Okay? So I'm going to introduce you to your wait staff, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what they do. Okay? So I'm going to ask the wait staff to please come forward. Let's give them a nice round of applause. So today we will have some waiters and a maitre d' assist you during the dining experience when we get to that point. I'm first going to ask each waiter to introduce themselves. So they start from the front. Oh,
Zyra.
What? No. You're not my waiter today, so I'm going to have you at the end. The waiters, please introduce yourselves.
Your nurse.
Stefan.
I'm sorry, hold on one second. Can you guys hear them?
No.
Please project your voice so everyone knows who the waiters are for today.
Your nurse.
Stefan. Enzo.
Rokia. And I am.
Giandri, Jose.
Now, we also have for you today your maitre d'.
Zyra.
So, I'm going to give you guys some information about some positions on the wait staff. Some are here, some are just on the board. Okay? This has our maitre d'. The maitre d' is pretty much the person who will make sure that everything in the restaurant setting is going smoothly for the customer. The maitre d' oversees the waiters. The maitre d' may come to your table and check in. How's everything going? Is everything all right? Is there anything I can get for you? The maitre d' may assist the waiters if the maitre d' sees, okay, there's a table, which food's not coming out as fast, let me go see if I can give a hand, just to make sure that table is being managed well as the entire dining room. Okay? If there is a complaint, you can take that to the maitre d'. But I would also recommend, just like anywhere you go, any job, so on and so forth, take it to the source first, because it might be able to be resolved easy by telling the waiter. It could be a new waiter. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a spoon, or whatever the matter is, it may be good to just address it with that person, because they may be able to resolve it easily, and you don't want to get somebody fired over something minor, okay? So the maitre d' does all that. They coordinate all across the dining room experience, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you what the waiters do, but I'm also going to release them because I know that they're busy preparing for everything. Okay? So I'm going to release you guys, and I'll talk about the waiter experience as well as everyone else. And I'm sorry, I said something in reverse about the maitre d'. The head waiter and captain does those things that I just said the maitre d' does. I'm sorry. I said that in reverse. I'm sorry. The head waiter and captain handles those things. Make sure the tables are well, make sure the waiters are managed and everything is going well. That's the head waiter and captain. Okay? So, the maitre d' is the person pretty much at the door. You know when you go into the restaurant?
I didn't want to question you, but I was like,
no, that's my fault. I said it in reverse. I'm looking at her and I just watched. But the maitre d' is the person who greets you when you come into the restaurant. Okay? At the little desk. At the little desk. Yes. So, let me finish the story and then I'll So the maitre d' is the person at the door who does that. The maitre d' will coordinate with the waiters regarding tables, okay? Where they'll say, okay, this person I have 5, da-da-da, I have a kid, so on and so forth. They'll coordinate so the waiters go in and make sure they get the appropriate table for you, okay? So that's what the maitre d' does. And the captain and head steward does what I just said previously about coordinating all of the waiters. Okay? Now, waiters and waitresses. Waiters and waitresses, most of you pretty much know. They take your order, they provide you with the menu, and they serve the food for you. Okay? They check in also. They're responsible for your table, so they will check in ever so often to make sure all is well. Okay? Hold on one second. Excuse me? You remember? Okay. So, then there's a wine steward. Does anybody know what a wine steward is?
It's like when someone's like they're in a bar and then you're the one that making the drink, right? Or
The
no.
one that gets drunk.
Y'all gotta watch her.
Sommelier.
I'm sorry, can you speak up?
Sommelier.
Everybody hear him? Explain to people what you're saying.
So the sommelier is somebody who knows about wine and goes to your table, opens the wine, gives you the cork so you can smell it, then takes the wine, see whether it's good or not, and then gives you for you to taste.
Anybody else? So he's pretty much online, but basically that person is the professional in the restaurant that is trained in winery. So, yes.
And don't they tell you which one is the best one to go with your meal?
Right, right. She's exactly right. So they're trained in wines. So when you're at a restaurant, like when I went to Portugal, apparently they have wine with everything. And I don't drink. And the waitress was like, you must drink. You are having this, so you must drink this with this because of that. And I was like, okay, and I drank. But they specialize in the wine selection, letting you know, okay, with this fish, this is good with this, so on and so forth. And like you said, they may smell it. You know, some don't. It depends on the type and the scale of the restaurant you're at. Some people would just recommend, oh, for this would be a good selection, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. What's important for you to know about this is, you know, most restaurants you go to, you don't see it. But if you go to a high-end restaurant and you're trying to impress someone, whether it's a high-end date or a high-end client or someone you're trying to get business with, you them to take care of your business, you may want to impress them by having the right wine on the table. Okay? So it's good to know if you're in a high-end place, find out who makes it. And just go on and use that service if it's
But
available.
what happens if you say you don't drink wine? Is that bad?
I don't, but again, respect. I was there with some guests, and apparently everyone was looking at me, and I didn't know why. And the waitress kind of let me know that this is how it's usually done. Now, I didn't go down a whole bunch of wine, you know, but out of respect, I did accept the wine and pay for it. I did accept it, and it was good. It was all right. I'm sorry, can you say anything?
Yeah, my name is Shah. So I just want to ask you, so you're talking about the life of respect. Does that mean compromising your own?
That's a very good question. I actually like to stand up and say that to everybody so they know what I'm responding to, the question I'm responding to. That's a very good question.
Hi everyone, my name is Shah. So my question was, you mentioned a lot about respect, and I want to know if that means compromise. Like for example, to give an example, I'm Muslim and I don't drink wine, so like try because I need to respect them and try to drink.
That's a very good question, okay? And I want you guys to ask questions. No, you don't have to. I don't drink just because I don't drink. I can't stand the taste of alcohol. So it wasn't like a huge issue for me. But if it is your right to make sure they understand what's important to you. And you just like, either you can, sometimes it's not good to bring up religion, you know, because depending on what you're doing, it's not important for the manner of business you're handling, okay? Because sometimes that brings judgment, you know, so you have to be careful with that. But you use your judgment. If it's social and with friends, you say, oh, I'm Muslim, I don't drink. Or, I don't drink. You don't have to. But me, I was out with a bunch of folks who were hosting me, you know, and I was just like, I just didn't order. It's not like I said, oh, don't give me, I just didn't order it. And everybody was just, you know, they didn't understand that I didn't drink, but I just said, okay, she ordered it for me.
Probably they expected that from you because of your profession, because of what you do. They assume you were going to read.
Sometimes people make assumptions, but it is your right to communicate to somebody what's important to you. Because like I said, both things matter. When you're building relationships, both things matter. Because now, if he then turned around and said to that person, oh, thank you, of course, in respect. Thank you very much, that's so kind of you. I actually I actually don't drink alcoholic beverages. But is there something in it or something else? Okay? But in that moment, they now understand that's something important to him. So if they take him out again, they won't suggest or they'll make sure he's not on the team. Depending on if he's the person that's honoring them, trying to get the business. They want business with him. Oh, you don't drink over them. Don't bring that out this time. Okay? So again, that's what I'm saying. Discretion is going to matter. And depending on your industry, depending on every situation involved and however you're applying this etiquette, all of these things are going to matter. Okay? So you are the person who's going to be responsible for assessing what's important. Okay? Say your name, please.
I'm sorry, you're saying you don't really bring politics and religion, they're like two subjects.
That's right. Right. You really shouldn't, but again, everything is applicable. And that's actually coming up in the screen, so we're going to cover that just now. Okay? But everything, again, is applicable. Some people tell you all the time, no, don't ever do it. But what if you're a politician? If industry matters. If you're a politician, if you're a priest or a pastor, are you going to let somebody tell you I can't talk about my religion? That's what you do. You see what I'm saying? But again, using discretion, if you're applying for a job and it's not at a church and it's not in politics, you don't know where they stand. You're there for that job. So if that job is a secretary at a school, a public school, where there's diverse religions, diverse cultures, they don't care about your religion. They don't care about, because they don't want you to come in and be this person at the desk preaching something to somebody's child that doesn't practice that. Yep. So if you're in your interview pushing it, it's going to make them go, we don't want the lawsuit. person a little extra with it. I just want to know their skills for the job. So again, you have to apply that where it's all these things, where it's important. You have to assess those things and take all of that into consideration. What industry you go in? Remember I said I didn't bother with about my industry. And a huge opportunity I lost my first time out. So research is going to be very important for the industry, for the school, for the company, for the culture. It's going to be very important. That's why I'm saying everything won't apply everywhere. You gotta know where you're at, who you're with, and what's important for that moment or that opportunity for you. You could be someone who's a counselor. And what's important to you is that opportunity for that person you're counseling. And you might have to put some of your stuff aside because that person might have some things that are different than the average person. They might have a religious difference. You can't bring up yours. They might have a sexual orientation difference. What you think about that has nothing to do with what they're sharing, what they need from you at that moment. They may be a different race than you. And see, I'm sure we see in this temperament we're in now that a lot of times we don't know a lot about each other culturally or race-wise. So if that's not your lane, stay in your lane. And sometimes if you're in a counsel situation, you might just need to counsel, and sometimes counsel requires you to get some more information or bring someone else into the situation if that person is open to it. So again, this etiquette that we're sharing, it's just some tools that you have to responsibly apply in your life. How do you say it?
Yes.